Hi, my name is Takudzwa Ngadziore. I'm the president of the Zimbabwe National Students Union and also the former president of the Great Zimbabwe University Student Representative Council. I was going to have a chance to meet the number one of this country whom I would want to dispute to become number one. I would be open to him to tell him to vacate office because that's the number one solution that we believe in, a revolution, but which is people-driven. I think most of the challenges that we face as students in Zimbabwe culminate from the misgovernance crisis which is happening at a larger or broader spectrum of the national discourse. These are economic challenges that you face because students at the end of the day, they're not objects, they're human beings. So they have challenges, for example, the transport challenges that are coming in. Of course, COVID-19 came and e-learning has been a challenge considering how technological advancement are backward in Zimbabwe. And also it's important to note that within that economic sector, we have had issues in which our parents who are within the labor movement are being paid less enough to cater for us within the students movement. Labor movement are those nurses that you see demonstrating. They are those doctors that you see on strikes. They are those teachers whom you see demanding for payment in US dollars. We have been, as the Zimbabwe National Students Union, on the forefront advocating for the increase of teaching practice allowance at $2. But you tend to see that due to corruption, the minister is caught with about 60 million, an individual. So you tend to see that public office is being used to acquire gain and also as being manipulated or abused in such a way that Thomas Dyke in 2004 actually defines corruption as the abuse of office for self-gain. So that on its own impacts on students because the funds that are supposed to be channeled to education are funds that are now being channeled to one's pocket. It happens in so many ways, bribery, it happens maybe embezzlement, it happens and patronage, it happens when students want attachment, but relations in this country, you need to be related to someone to get a place. That on its own is corruption. We are telling the one who is on the office to vacate. We are also telling the current administration to vacate office and at least give people who have a heart for the people to lead in Zimbabwe. It's happening now when it comes to inflation. I would want to state that, of course, economic revival is amongst the 5 pillars that we believe in as the Zimbabwe National Students Union. But you also tend to see that the economic policies which are right now in Zimbabwe are not conducive and are not consistent. That's why you see that hyperinflation has taken over and that need or has to be addressed. And the plan which has been made to resolve the economic challenges to say we need to print more money when there is less money. I don't know if it's within the monetarist or the Keynesian theorists, but it's a plan which needs to be thought of because it's lunatic at the end of the day. The economy should be backed by production. So at the end of the day, hyperinflation comes and it affects us because when you want to pay for school fees, you're paying a higher amount than the salary itself that our parents are getting. Freedom of speech has something to do with the shrinking civic society space. So people do not have what it takes to utter whatever they have in mind and not to be victimized or face state persecution by the state apparatus. At the end of the day, when you say something, you are followed. When you say something which is contrary or opposed to what they think, that is when you tend to be followed. So freedom of speech is not existing in Zimbabwe. It's something that we know of maybe in other countries. I would want to say our number 2 resolution as the Zimbabwe National Students Union actually also frames within the security sector reform. So police brutality from Mugabe's era to this era that we have now, which obviously is just the new face of the old. We have police brutality on an enormous scale right now than it was in Mugabe's era. You tend to see that the military is infiltrating the streets. If you get in town right now, you tend to see the military, even before COVID-19. Of course, they would want to say that the restrictions were imposed for the military or the security sectors to monitor the movements. But this has been happening. We've had cases in Bulawayo in which people were beaten. We've had cases in Harare. We've had cases across the nation. So police brutality has been on a higher scale. Those who are supposed to be protecting us are those who are abusing us. You state about the judiciary sector has been captured. State capture has been on the high. So I do not have faith in the judiciary system of this country. There has not been a social contract between those who govern, the governors, and those who are being governed. So at the end of the day, it also impacts on the banking system itself, that people do not trust institutions like banks to put their money. because the imposition of repressive taxes and have been impacting on people to have less trust on their leadership, to give it money, to put money in a bank right now, it's scary. People would rather put it under a pillow. Aspirations of this country is to see leadership which puts service above self. My aspirations for this country is to also see leadership which puts the mind above the matter. It is to see leadership which answers and engages the masses when they get in office, before they get in office, to say we are here and what do you think should be done. Is to get a leadership which is for the people, by the people, and also of the people.